Okay, hello everyone. I just wanted to, let me get that off there. I just wanted to record a quick video here to demonstrate how to use comments in your code, and also to just briefly explain when and why you might even want to use comments at all in your code. So you can see here, I'm looking at the numbers and arithmetic program that was created in the arithmetic lecture. So if you have that available, you may want to open it up to follow along, but you can really follow along in any program that you have available. So the addition of comments isn't unique to this particular program. You can add them to all of them. So in short here, just getting to it and talking about comments, basically a comment is just a means for a programmer to insert information into the program for themselves or for other programmers that may happen across the source code to read to get information about the program. So the computer doesn't care at all about comments. They're not meaningful to the program or the computer, but they are meaningful to people like you and like me that may be reading the code, that maybe we don't understand exactly what a piece of code is doing. So we might want to include a comment to help clarify or explain a complex piece of code. And in the case of the assignments that I'm going to ask you to submit, they're also very useful for just giving an overall summary of a program so that at a glance, someone could look at a comment and without reading through all the code, they could have a good understanding of what that program is all about. Okay, there are really two different ways of inserting comments in your code. Those are inline comments and multi-line or block comments. And I'll show you briefly how to insert both of those. But before I do that, I'll just kind of show you what I expect for the assignments, which is the insertion of a summary comment. So in this particular program, but like I mentioned, it could be in any, I'm going to include a summary comment here right above line 5 where it says class program. So I'm going to put my cursor on line 4 and just press enter. And that's going to create a new line and indent my cursor, which is good, again, practice for indentation and source code formatting. And to insert a summary comment, which is a special kind of comment that Visual Studio will insert for your code, you just basically press the slash key 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, and it's on that third slash key press that, in this case, Visual Studio is going to recognize that, oh, you want a summary comment. And so it includes the summary tags, which are useful for popping up information about, in this case, your class if you were to use it somewhere else. But for us, it's just really useful to identify the fact that that's exactly what we want to include here is a summary of the program. And so there are 3 things that I'm going to be looking for in your summary comments. Okay, and the first of those is a purpose. The second is an author. And the third is the last modified date. Okay, and I'd like the last modified date in the full year, and then the numeric month and a due-day value, something like that. So for your 4 major assignments in this course at a minimum, I'm going to expect to see a comment like this at the very beginning that I can use to identify what the program is about, who the author is, and when it was last modified. So make sure you include that. That'll also be mentioned in the assignment specification. So for this particular program, it's pretty straightforward. The purpose is to convert a temperature from degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. And in addition to the purpose, we may also want to explain things like what is the expected input, what are the processes that may take place, and what is the output that I can expect. And so in this very short little purpose in the comment, I can, without looking at the code, have a really good idea of what the program is, what it looks like, how it works, and what to expect. So I might just put something in here like the purpose is to convert, just like it says below, degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, and we'll say here input the degrees in Celsius. I can press enter, and again, because I'm already in that summary comment, automatically I'll get those slashes in front. I can use my tab key to kind of come over and align my comments if that's important. So I input the degrees in Celsius. I want to put a comma over here. And then I'll say here that we perform a conversion formula, and then display, the degrees in Fahrenheit. Okay, and again, this is a very small program, so the purpose is going to be very simple. But that's enough. Okay, I can look at that and have a pretty good idea of what this program is all about without ever having to look at any of the code. And then include your name if you're the author, the date, so it's 2020, happens to be May the 11th, and that's it. Okay, so a short little comment like that for your assignment programs is what I'm going to expect to see. It doesn't take very much time, but again, can convey a lot of useful information. Okay, and then down here within the program itself, I would say the code, because we've chosen meaningful variable names and we used white space to separate and group like statements together, is already well written. Okay? And this is something we might consider self-documenting code. Okay, so I can look at the code, and the code itself almost provides the information and the commenting that I would need. But if you wanted to be explicit about where things were and why you did certain things, you can always include comments in here. So a single line comment or an inline comment is just 2 slashes, just like we see here. And then anything that follows that character sequence will be commented out in the program. So this is redundant, but I could say something like, here I'm going to declare the required variables. Okay. And so again, the computer isn't going to care about that as a comment. It's meaningless from the perspective of the execution of the program, but someone reading the code would know, oh, this is where the variables are declared. Okay. Or I might expect here where I'm doing my conversion, maybe it's not clear that that's what's happening. I might put a comment in here that I'm going to perform the temperature conversion. One other thing that comments can be useful for is, prior to writing the code for this program, if I had my pseudocode plan, I might even just write these comments in my main method here to just illustrate where I plan to implement those parts of my plan. So you could use this as kind of like an intermediate step between planning and the code implementation. Is you first put in comments where you'd like your specific code statements to go, and then you can come back and kind of fill them in. So that's also possible. Okay, if you wanted to leave a comment that was a few lines in length, you could just simply press enter and repeatedly comment out using the inline comments. That's one way to go about doing it. But another option would be to create a multi-line comment. Okay, and I don't have a really good reason to implement one here, but I just want to demonstrate it. So the multi-line comment is inserted by using the sequence of a slash followed by an asterisk. Okay, and as soon as I do that, you'll see that all the remaining lines in the program are now commented out. Okay, and so the slash asterisk basically indicates that everything is going to be a comment. And so if I press enter, you'll see I get another asterisk, but that's just formatting. Everything is going to be a comment until the reversed sequence is met. Okay, and so slash asterisk begins a block comment, and an asterisk followed by a slash completes the block comment. And so once I put in the asterisk slash, you can see that my programming statements come back to life. They get the syntax highlighting, but everything that's in between these two is green in the case of my color scheme. And so this is the multi-line comment. Okay, and so I could create a paragraph. Maybe there's something very complex, or I want to leave a note to another programmer. I can type as many lines in here as I like, and I could leave them. Okay, as it turns out, I don't have a good reason for leaving them here, so I'm going to delete that comment, but at least you can see how that is put in there. And so yeah, that's basically it for comments and how they can be useful. And as we go ahead and create more complex programs, we're going to see more of a need to insert comments in our code. But in the beginning here, even if it's just for yourself and you want to put comments in for notes because you're learning the code or learning how to do something, or maybe you feel like if you revisited this program, you might not understand some of the things you did, then yeah, please, by all means, include comments in there. I'm not going to come down hard on you in terms of grading if I see comments liberally used in your programs. That to me just indicates that you're invested and you want to put some information in there for learning. And that's totally fine. That's what this course is all about. So use them wherever you think they're necessary. One additional bonus I want to throw in here as far as formatting of programs goes, and I think I mentioned this during the lecture video, is to also include some information for the user in terms of usability and what the program is about. So we've just included this summary comment that explains kind of what this program is all about. But if we run this program, just as an example, I'll do that now. If we run this program the way that we've written it, the first thing that the user is met with is a prompt for degrees Celsius. But I have no idea why I'm entering degrees Celsius. So that's not really useful. And I think we can do a better job introducing our program, not only in terms of comments, but in terms of usability for the user. So what I would recommend for these programs, again, this is something that I'm going to expect for your submitted assignments especially, but you probably want to do even in practice programs, is just to create a little title sequence so that the user knows what they're dealing with. And that can be decorated in a number of ways. I like to surround my titles in like equals signs or asterisks or something like that. But at a minimum, you should have some kind of like a general title. So it could be something simple as, we call this the temperature converter. Okay. And then I'm going to include one more console.writeLine. Okay, and here's a thing that we can do. If you call console.writeLine with no argument, it will just write out a blank line. So we can use console.writeLine, again, with no argument to include spaces in our output for the user so that, again, it's much easier to read and everything isn't all crammed together. But this right here, and let me just do one more. Here's where you'll see my use of equal signs. Just to provide some kind of an introduction to the program. And this could be as simple as that. And I might want to put a comment in here that this is just, to display a title sequence or something like that. And so now when I run this program, it's going to have a little bit more meaning. It's almost like I'm commenting the output for the user. So temperature converter, enter degrees Celsius. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, I'm going to enter degrees Celsius because it's going to be converted. I don't know to what, so we could be clearer. We could even include like a little, another piece to the sequence of the title that says, converts from C to F or something like that. But at a minimum, something that illustrates to the user that this is what the program is about and what they could expect. So that's it for a little supplemental comments and title sequences. I hope you found that useful. I'll see you in another video.